Hi there and welcome to the Adventures with Jesus Today podcast. I'm your host Lisa van den Berg, and today we're going to be talking about people are amazing, calling out the gold in someone. There is a beautiful principle in the Word of God where he talks in Romans 4:17. I encourage you to go and read it from 4:17 through to 23. It's the account of Moses and how he really believed what God said about the fact that he and Sarah would have a child, and how his faith didn't waver. And it's beautiful how it unpacks his journey with the Lord and believing for what the Lord said. And there's this beautiful phrase that we hear often, and it says, and he called things that are not as though they were. So just think about that for the moment. We can be standing in front of somebody right now and they're irritating us, or they're getting on our last nerve, or they're making us angry, or they're saying something that's hurtful, or they're acting in a strange way. You know, all of the things that make us irritated with each other. And we can choose to either stop and look at what's happening in front of us, or we can choose to stop, look at what's happening in front of us, and ask the Lord to show us what's really going on, how he feels about the person in front of us. And instead of reacting from the place of our own emotions, our own self, we can actually begin to learn how to react to the situation from God's perspective instead. What it looks like to see the person in front of us through God's eyes. So first of all, what this is not is saying to you that your emotions are bad and we don't get to react, right? We're all human beings. Things hurt us, things trigger us, things inflame us, things make us want to react. And so that's a perfectly natural way that God made us to be. The beautiful invitation from him, though, is to not live a life of reactivity, but a life of proactivity, of being able to learn to be in a situation. And it's almost, I say to people, it's almost as if you imagine that you're seated with Christ in heavenly places and you're looking down at the earth and you're looking at the situation that's in front of you and saying, Lord, show me. I'm sort of detached from the situation and say, Lord, show me what's really happening here. Help me to understand how you see this and what kingdom has to do about it. What does wisdom want us to do? What would you have me say? Proverbs is so full of beautiful verses of, like, you know, wrath is not the answer, but a peaceful answer is the one that calms people down. And there's so much wisdom in the kingdom of how to not instantly react and stay in that triggered reaction, but be able to stop, connect with the Lord, and then act out of what he says. This is the beauty of what Jesus says when he says, I only do what I see my Father do, and I only say what I hear my Father say. He had learned to actually stop the reactive part of his nature and be able to go, I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to hear what the Father's saying, and I'm going to say that because it's the best in the situation, or I'm going to see what the Father's doing. And that looks like perceiving what's happening in the situation, seeing what's going on around you, what's going on in the person in front of you. What does their facial expression look like? What does their body look like? What do their words say? And actually being able to just take stock of the situation from an outside perspective. And then, as you're connected with the Lord in that outside perspective, to bring that answer to the situation. And first of all, this is absolutely something we cannot do by ourselves. This is not a thing that human beings can do by themselves, right? But this is a beautiful invitation from the Lord. It is something that we absolutely can do with him. So as he was talking about Abraham's faith of believing that what he said about the future, because they hadn't had the child yet, right? And things look bad. He was over 100 years old. Sarah's womb was barren, but he believed that what God said could make a difference in front of him. It's just the same with this principle of being able to see the amazingness in the person in front of you and call out the gold in them. So it's I heard this beautiful saying one day. It's super easy to call out the dirt in someone, but how much more beautiful to call out the gold in them instead, right? We can see the dirt in each other's lives. Oh, look at what she's doing. Oh, look at what he said. Oh, you really shouldn't be doing that anymore. Super easy to do that. The whole world does that, right? To look at the dirt in somebody else. but how much more beautiful an invitation from heaven and a kingdom perspective to be able to ask the Lord to help us with this and go, Lord, help me I understand that a reaction is taking place. I'm reacting to what's happening in front of me, but help me to be slow to speak, right? Slow to speak, Proverbs says, and quick to connect with you, just to remind myself. It's like, oh, Lord, how interesting what's going on in this situation. You sort of ask him to help you separate from the emotion and of the situation and be able to see from heaven's perspective. And it literally just takes a second, right? And you go, that's so interesting. Show me what's going on here. And then as he does that, you go, wow, Lord, what does wisdom say about this? What would you have me do in this situation that will bring the kindness and the goodness and the compassion of heaven into this situation right now in front of me? And a beautiful example of that. I mean, I have a friend who is a born problem solver, but for many years, this friend would, whenever they were given a problem to solve, right, the first thing they'd do is they'd sit and complain, and they'd love to come and complain to me, and they'd complain about this doesn't work, and they don't realize how hard this is, and I'm not equipped to do this, and I can't do this, and all of this was complaining that came out. And I'm a naturally positive person, so for years we'd go like, and I'd go, stop being so negative, you can do it, believe God, and I'd try and help them to feel better about the situation. But all that ever caused between us was division, right? Because they were bent on saying what they were saying, and I was bent on making it a positive thing. Until I began to ask the Lord to help me with this process I'm describing with you now. And so literally the other day, this person got offered a new problem, and they were doing the same thing. And I said to the Lord, show me what's happening here. Help me to not instantly react with positive, which of course comes from my own fear that the situation is going to get too negative. But help me just to see what's happening. And so the Lord showed me, I said, show me the gold in the person in front of me so that I can agree with what heaven has to say. So the Lord showed me that this is actually the way they created this person, the process, right? That they get a problem, and then they sit and they need to, their brain is so wired to go through the facts of the situation, and they need to verbally process it, that what comes out is literally just the facts of the situation. They truly are not yet equipped to deal with it. They truly do not know what to do right now. They truly have been given more to do than they can do. Those are the facts of the situation. And once they'd processed this, and I was being a safe place for them to be able to say this, then once that's out of the way, then this beautiful process that the Lord goes through with them, the mind he's given them, the way they think, the way they come up with it and connect with heaven and bring the solutions of heaven to earth, is that now that all that stuff's out of the way, now they can sit and think. And they literally think and ponder this and turn it over to the Lord and try various things, and until they come up with a solution. And they always do. There's always something that they bring to the table that's better than the problem was in the first place. It was life-changing for me and this person, for me to be able to see the gold in them instead of just combating and reacting and thinking that it was automatically negative. So what situations do you have in your life that you can do the same with? People in front of you that you can just go, Lord, I can see the dirt pretty quick, but help me to call out the gold. What's in them? What's behind this thing that triggers me? What's behind this thing that I react to? And show me how to call the gold out in this person, to call what I don't see yet out into existence from heaven's perspective. This will transform the relationships with yourself, with the Lord, and with the people in front of you. And of course, it fulfills the greatest commandment of all, which is love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. So let me know in the comments, what does this look like? Or email me back. Let me know what situations there are in your life that you can ask the Lord to help you do this, and you can see them transformed. There's some stories of how it's already begun to happen. And then we get to walk this journey out together and see what it looks like long-term in our lives. So as always, Jesus is inviting you on an adventure today. Will you accept? Come across and visit us at @thewaysofwisdom.com, or like and subscribe to this podcast. Let's send some good news around the world and encourage each other on our journey. Bless you, bless you, bless you, and I'll see you next time.